Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jacklyn, and in today's video we are going to be talking about books that I was convinced to read but missed the mark. Now, I've said it before and I will say it again, this is my opinion specific to me and my taste. If you liked these books, I'm happy for you. Good for you. I just felt like they didn't hit the mark that I was hoping they would. Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, I have just made myself a little drinky drink. I have 12 books to go through with you today. I have a few sitting here, and then I also have some that I will just be popping a little picture up because I actually don't have them physically. One thing about me is if I don't enjoy the book, I'm probably not going to keep it on my shelves. I just don't see the point in keeping a book that I didn't enjoy. Some of them I have kept because I enjoyed them enough to the point of keeping them. Others I just really liked the covers and want to keep them on my shelf. That is the plan for today. We're going to be talking about books that I was convinced to read that missed the mark for me personally, and discussing why I think that they missed the mark. From there, I do want to talk a little bit about my taste in books and what I actually like. I read a lot of fantasy, I read romance, so romantasy falls into that genre as well. I also read a lot of historical fiction or literary fiction. I love learning about the world wars and things that people have gone through that is significant in the world's history. Specifically, what I like in books is I like them to have some sort of plot driven, and if they are character driven, then it has to be deeply emotionally character driven. It can't just be surface level stuff. It needs to be emotional and have some depth, and there needs to be some sort of connection going on and having some deeper meaningful thoughts happening. I love books that make me think about the world and different perspectives and make me contemplate life in a way that I don't usually, or is new for me. I like learning things. In terms of plot, I like the books to be well structured and well written. It's hard for me to explain what that is because it doesn't always mean perfect writing. It more so means it's well thought out and well structured and the timing of it all works out well. Then as for the writing, I do also really enjoy good writing. I love annotating my books. I love having quotes just like smack me in the chest, hit really hard. I love that. I love books that make me feel something and have some depth. So that is what I'm aiming for every time I pick up a book. I just want it to make me emotionally connected to the characters, emotionally connected to the plot and whatever they are going through, as well as have some depth to make me think about life and human existence in a way that I might not have thought about before I read the book. That gives you like an overall understanding and view of what I like and my taste in books. It can be anything. It can be any genre, and if I get those things out of a book, I will enjoy it inevitably. That is what I'm looking for every time I pick up a book. These books, I thought that they were going to give me that, and they obviously just missed it a little bit. Now, saying that, I have not rated all these books super lowly. Some of them are lowly rated, some of them are a 1 or a 2 star, some of them are 3.5 star. They're not low rated books. Specifically for this video, just missed the mark of what I was hoping I would get from them, due to being convinced to read them from other people, from social media, from friends, family, whatever it is. Convinced to read them for some specific reason, and I felt like they missed the mark. All that being said, let's get into it. Let's get this started. Book number 1 that we are going to be talking about is a book that I actually do not have physically with me, and that is Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. I rated this 2 stars. This was actually a book club pick for my in-person book club that I go to every month. It was short, it was not hard to read, it was chaotic. That's what it was. I honestly forget the premise of this book. Let me just read the blurb for you. It's a fantasy book, just in case you didn't know that it was a fantasy book. After years of seeing her sisters suffer at the hands of an abusive prince, Mara, the shy, convent-raised third-born daughter, has finally realized that no one is coming to their rescue. No one except for Mara herself. Seeking help from a powerful grave witch, Mara is offered the tools to kill a prince, if she can complete 3 impossible tasks. But as is the way in tales of princes, witches, and daughters, the impossible is only the beginning. On her quest, Mara is joined by the grave witch, a reluctant fairy godmother, a strapping former knight, and a chicken possessed by a demon. Together, the 5 of them intend to be the hand that closes around the throat of the prince and frees Mara's family and their kingdom from its tyrannous ruler at last. Now, I just want to come back to something that it says in there. On her quest, Mara is joined by a grave witch, a reluctant fairy godmother, a strapping former knight, and a chicken possessed by a demon, plus Mara herself. So that is 5 characters in this main group. Now, it did have some humor and it was funny in parts, but I just found it super chaotic. Like there was plot, but it was just like there was so much going on and there was so many magical beings. There was like gremlins and goblins and fairies and knights and witches and demons. There was so much going on that I literally couldn't keep up, and it was just a jumbled mess. The characters weren't as connected as what I was hoping for them to be. I think what the author was going for was like a funny, humorous group of people, kind of like Avengers style, like they were a ragtag team of people, and it just didn't come across like that to me. It just came across as like a messy group of people who are all helping this girl and they don't even really need to be helping her. It was just very confusing and it just missed the mark for me. I didn't enjoy the writing style. I listened to some of it on audiobook and I didn't enjoy the audiobook either. I just thought that it was really messy and chaotic and there was way too much going on for such a small book. I think it was only like 200 something pages. Is it 200 something pages? Yeah, it's 243 pages. So it was just a small book with a lot packed into it, and it just did not come off as like a well-formulated story. It came off as a mess to me. Sorry, I keep looking down, but I'm looking at the books that are on my list on my phone, which is sitting down here. I will try to stop doing that. Now, the next book that I want to talk about is one that I actually have physically, and that is the second... What is wrong with me? The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovalino, V.L. Bovalino, I think. This I actually rated 3 stars. At the start, it was looking like a 4.5 star until I got to the halfway point. It has a few different parts. It always has like a little quote and then it goes into the next chapter. Basically, this first half of the book was super good and it was lining up to be a 4.5 star. I was loving it, and then I got to the second half and it just dropped off so completely for me. I picked this up. I went and bought it for a friend of mine that I actually sent it to her, and I picked this up and started reading it because it was so hyped online from a pretty prominent book creator, Eden. Recommended this because of the yearning in it, and I absolutely agree. The yearning in this at the start is next level. It's fantastic. Absolutely loved it. I was so hooked. I was like, yes, I love this. I loved the writing. I loved the story. It had great plot. They go on a bit of a quest and she is yearning for her partner in crime. Basically, they're both soldiers and he has no idea that she's in love with him. Her yearning is fantastic. The moment they got together, however, it just fell off for me. It just lost all of its magic. It lost everything that I was enjoying. I was loving the yearning. I was loving the plot. Then they got together. The plot kind of took a turn. I was like, where are we going now? Like, what are we doing? Because they were together, there was no more yearning. So I was missing that part that I was really enjoying from the book. I read the first half of this book in 2 days. The other half took me a month to finish and sent me into a massive book slump. As soon as I put it down, I didn't pick up another book and I was not interested in reading anymore. I just got in such a rut. 3 stars. It was okay. I do agree with Eden. The yearning in it at the start was really, really good and definitely something that people have been looking for more when they're reading romantasy. It just didn't end the way that I wanted it to. Oh my god, the next book. I don't even know if I should talk about the next book. The next one is Fear the Flames, which I do not own physically. I'm not spending money on that. Hands down the worst book I've ever read. I'm not kidding. I'm not even a little bit joking. Hands down the worst book that I have ever read. I do not understand the hype on this book. The plot didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. It had so many plot holes. The writing was awful. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all, Jacklenn. Fear the Flames is a fantasy novel. It's actually a romantasy. It is enemies to lovers from this girl who is actually a princess. She gets this kind of blessing where she's connected to 5 dragons. Her dragons get taken away from her when she's a child because her dad, the king, decides that it's actually not a blessing, it's kind of a curse and she needs to be locked away. So then she gets locked away for her entire life and then one day escapes. There's no explanation of how she escapes. There's no understanding of the connection with her and the dragons. She just apparently has this connection with the 5 dragons and she has to go find them and get back together with them. She had this blessing put on her when she was literally an infant. All of a sudden she has all this knowledge and understanding about dragons and being a dragon rider. Just knows all of this stuff about dragons when she hasn't been able to talk to them or see them since she was an infant child and got locked away by her father, the king. Then she kind of teams up with this commander dude who is like a soldier, protector, bodyguard type guy, and they're enemies. The enemies to lovers is not enemies to lovers in this book. It's honestly kind of pathetic. The plot has so many plot holes. So many things didn't make sense. I was like, how did she get from there to there? How is she a princess that is on the run and in hiding, but everybody knows who she is? Like literally everyone knows that she's a princess and treats her with respect and kindness because she's a princess. It just did not make sense. The math was not mathing. I just couldn't stand the characters. I hated the sexual tension, if that's what you want to call it. They were just so lusty and gross. It was gross. I did not enjoy it at all. I'm going to stop because it's too much. Hands down, worst book I've ever read. Please don't read it. If you really liked that book, I'm sorry. Like, go ahead, like what you want to like. It just rubbed me the wrong way. I did not like it at all. Next one we're going to talk about, I do have physically because I did enjoy this. It is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I don't want to butcher the name, so I'm just going to hold it up. I did enjoy this. I did enjoy it. Leading up to reading this, I had heard a lot about it. A lot of people around me, friends, family, have read this before me. So leading up to it, I knew that everyone around me had enjoyed it and really liked it. I definitely liked it. I definitely enjoyed it. The writing is good. I just was not as impressed with it as what I think everyone else seems to be or comes across as to me. If you don't know what this is about, this is a wonderful little story about going to a cafe and sitting down for a cup of coffee with someone that you have lost in your life to speak with them for a final time before the coffee gets cold. It does have a wonderful premise. I do think the writing was really, really good. Just also felt that it was slightly surface level. It wasn't as deep as I wanted it to be when going into it. I thought I was going to be highlighting everything, annotating everything, and I did annotate a couple of things. It does have a beautiful message about enjoying the time with your loved ones that you have right now, not taking them for granted, telling them how you feel, etc, etc, etc. But it was all very, very simply put. It wasn't put in this most profound, prolific way. It was just put simply as that of like, make sure your loved ones know that they're loved. They're not around forever. Enjoy them while they're here. It's very simply put. For me, I felt like that was just regurgitated, well-known life lessons already. I didn't feel like I was learning anything new. I didn't feel this like revolutionary joy of this book teaching me a lesson and helping me learn something, or even putting it in a different perspective in a way that I hadn't looked at it before. I just felt like it was very flat. I did give this 3 stars. I did enjoy it. It's a very simple little cute book. It just fell a little bit flat. The next one, I feel like this is going to be controversial, but the next one I also have physically, and that is The Poppy War. I was considering donating this or giving it away to a friend. I am still umming and ahhing about whether or not I will continue the series. I'm assuming that the series will get better. Let me know in the comments below if you think the series gets better than the first book in the follow-on books. Did that make any sense? If the second and third books are better than the first? Not that I didn't enjoy this. I rated this 3 stars. I enjoyed it. I just think maybe my expectations for what this was going to be were higher than what it actually is. This is a very, very loved story, loved series. I will say the plot is good. I will say it has some emotional depth. It has some really eye-opening scenes and things going on that are hard to read and hard to think about and talk about. I don't think it was as well executed as what I was thinking it was going to be. This is high fantasy. It felt young to me, and I think this is a young adult. I'm just gonna fact check myself. It does say young adult. If that's the case, I think if I had read this when I was like 14, 15 years old, it would have been an all-time favorite book of mine. Absolutely. Like, for the age group that this is for, I can see why so many people love this. It is hard-hitting. It has hard topics to talk about. It has very confronting and eye-opening scenes within it. It tackles big things. I just don't think it was executed as well as what I wanted it to be as a 27-year-old mother. Was expecting it to be the best thing I've ever read, honestly. I was expecting it to be the best thing I've ever read, and it just wasn't. I didn't think the writing style was as profound and as deep as what I was hoping it would be. I did like the plot. I did find it very solid, like well thought out, well plotted, etc, etc, etc. However, I do think one thing that significantly missed the mark in this is the romantic connection or the friendship or whatever is trying to happen in this book between these two characters. It was told to me that they were connected and had this emotional connection and that she was having feelings for him. It was told to me that she was having those emotions and those feelings, but it wasn't actually shown in any scenes or anything like that as to how or why she got there. Why is she having feelings to him? Like, what has he done to make her feel this way? What has he done to provide for her or protect her? Like, the romantic connection or the friendship was just very flat. It didn't have any sort of actual emotional connection to me. I was like, you're telling me that she's in love, but I have no proof of that. And I need proof of that to actually believe it. So I definitely didn't believe the friendships and the connections in this. I just thought it was not well executed. The plot is good and I can see why it is a beloved series, and if I had read this when I was like 14, 15 years old, it probably would have been the greatest fantasy book for me to read. That high fantasy, high stakes, war, fighting, etc, etc. 3 stars. Not sure if I want to continue this series. The next one I have a little bit of a gripe with as well. On Wings of Blood by Briar Bolin. This one for me was very similar to Fear the Flames. I didn't hate it that much. Definitely not the worst thing that I have read, but I didn't enjoy it to the point of rating it higher than 2 stars. I find that I'm having this struggle with indie published books that are on Kindle Unlimited and really hyped on social media, is the fact that so many people are enjoying them for the romance side of things and the smut and the spice in them. So many people are enjoying them because they are in a cool setting and they have maybe some high stakes, or the male main character is morally grey. Like, it's all very fun, whimsical stuff. I like that. I'm not a huge fan of spice, but I will enjoy it if it's done well within the story. The thing that I struggled with on Wings of Blood is the writing I felt was not great, and the plot felt very clunky and not well thought out. It just felt like not a well-made story, not a well-made novel. I really struggle when books feel not well structured and well made, well written. I just really struggled. It just felt like it could have been edited, there could have been more information added, there could be more background, the characters could be better developed. It just was missing a lot for me and it did not hit the mark. There was also advertising for this book when I did pick it up that it was all about dragons and had dragons in it. And I don't want to spoil anything for everybody. It does have dragons in it, but they've been extinct within the world forever and they don't show up until I'm really sorry if that spoils it for everybody, but if you go into this book expecting there to be dragons and she's riding a dragon and flying around with dragons, it's just not, that's not it. That's not happening in this book. I was just very, very disappointed. She goes to an academy. It's kind of like Fourth Wing. She goes to an academy and she is with this guy. It's enemies to lovers, but again, very lusty, not really enemies to lovers. It's cool because it's in this academy setting and she's learning all these things and it's about dragons being extinct and trying to get them back. There is some spice. The spice was well done. I just think if me, not a huge fan of spice in books, is saying that the spice was the most enjoyable part of the book, that's kind of saying something. I think that says something to me. Don't go into the book expecting there to be dragons. If you're just in the mood for something that you don't have to think and it's a silly, funny, goofy time, then yes. But if you like well-structured, thought-out plots and you like well-developed characters, then no. The next one that we're going to be talking about is Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stephen. Now this, if you can see, there is some little tabs from annotations that I did make. You will also be able to see that they have a point where they stop, and that's because I just gave up on the book. Really liked the writing style at the start. I was getting good annotations and good quotes and I was like, yes, this is it. This is going to be so good. I'm so excited. And then it just got worse and worse and worse. The plotline of this, I'll read it to you. Maybe that's all love is in the end, an endless tempting of fate. Evelyn has lived countless lives and in every single one she has been killed before her 18th birthday. But in her present life, her little sister needs her in order to stay alive. To save her sister and make it past her 18th birthday, she'll have to find the centuries-old enemy who hunts her through each life and figure out why she's being hunted so that she can break the curse once and for all. Most importantly, she's going to have to try not to fall in love with them again. So basically, in every single life she keeps getting reincarnated. Another person keeps getting reincarnated with her and has to kill her before she turns 18. But every single time they fall in love and she gets kind of like surprised into being killed. It's like a shock to her to be killed because she's in love with this person. Now, at the start, I was really liking it. It has past and present timelines. You're going through the present story of her save her sister and stay alive for this life. She wants to stay in this life. It keeps giving you past timelines of past lives that she has been in. Each past chapter is one lifetime, okay? So it gives you that one lifetime in one chapter. For me, it lacked information. Right from the get-go, she's like in love with this guy and then he ends up killing her. From there, you're kind of getting into the story and you're going along with it and you're like, yep, okay, trying to figure out what's going on and trying to figure out why she always keeps getting killed, why they keep falling in love, why they keep being drawn back to each other, and etc, etc, etc. So you're in the story, you're trying to understand. As I went through the story, I was getting really frustrated with the lack of understanding as to why they kept falling in love, as to why they were in love to begin with. There was no information. It was just lacking information. If it had more words in the book, if it was a larger book with more information, I think it could have been great. I really do. It was 2.5 stars for me. I just wanted more information about why the characters were so in love. There was no proof. It was this deep emotional connection. They were so in love. They were ride or die. They were connected. But I didn't have any proof as to why that was. It was just frustrating me and frustrating me and frustrating me. And then the plot in the present timeline had a few scenes where I was like, what is going on? Like, The present timeline plot wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and then the backstory was lacking information and proof to their love and their deep romantic connection. 2.5 stars for this. At the time when it came out, it was super hyped. I remember watching a video of a girl literally bawling her eyes out at the end of this, and I got to the end and I was like, why are they in love? Like, I was so confused. That's what I think about this one. The next one might be controversial as well because it is very highly loved and hyped on social media, and that is Metal Singer. I gave this 3 stars, and I think 1 entire whole star is due to the ending of the book. I thought the ending was good. It has like a major plot twist. I didn't see it coming. I was like, okay, that got me for sure. So I gave it an extra star. It was super fast paced to the point where like you are reading and you barely know what's going on because you're like, 2 seconds ago we were here. In the next sentence, someone's getting their head bitten off. Like the jump scares I was getting from one sentence to the next sentence and having 2 complete polar opposite things happening within 2 sentences was crazy. I thought it was very fast paced. I thought it was plot driven. I did like the characters. I just thought that it was not well executed at all. I thought it could have some more depth. I thought the pacing of it could have been better executed. It could still be fast paced, but it could have been written better. It could have been written better is my overall thoughts and feelings on this book. The ending did get me, however. The plot twist was quite extraordinary. I was like, wow. Still have no desire to read on in the series though. It was not well executed enough for me to enjoy it to that point. I will say also that I did really like the world. I liked that it was set on a ship and they were in the ocean. Her entire universe basically was on this water world and she was separate from the everyday world on Earth, I guess, like on land would be a better way to explain it. She's like in the water, everyone else is on land, she's not allowed on land. I thought that was really cool and something that I had not read before. She can't go on land, but she ends up kind of getting like captured by this guy and they have to go on a journey and they end up on the land. On this journey there's like a major plot twist at the end, which did get me. So that was fun. I didn't like the writing and I thought it could have been better executed. The next one that I want to talk about is The Crimson Moth. This was very hyped when it came out. I think the publicity of it and the publishers did a great job of getting it hyped and getting it out there because I feel like every man and his dog knew about this book when it was coming out. The Crimson Moth is a witch and a witch hunter setting, so enemies to lovers. I do think that was well done. I think maybe the book just came off a little bit young for my taste. It felt written for a younger audience. That being said, even though it was written for a younger audience, it definitely had some aspects in it that I was a bit taken aback by. I did not love The Crimson Moth. I'm definitely not reading on in the series. I'm so upset at myself. I keep on starting these series and not enjoying the books, and then I get upset that I'm not finishing the series, but I cannot convince myself to read these books. It's a witch and a witch hunter. He's hunting her and witches are illegal. They get in this situation where they're actually working together rather than him chasing her. So they're actually working together. She knows that he's a witch hunter. He does not know that she's a witch. He kind of like fake dates her to figure out if she's a witch. Like there is some sort of rumors going around. Towards the back end of the book, I think the plot really fell off for me. I was invested in the story and I was enjoying it. Then at the end, it just turned into a whole mess and it didn't wrap up very nicely. I know it was still a cliffhanger because it is a series. I expect a cliffhanger in a series, but it still wasn't wrapped up in a nice, concise way. So I did not like that about the book either. The next one I read a really long time ago and I can barely remember the story, but I just wanted to include it in here because if someone has a similar taste in books to me, I just want them to understand where I'm coming from. The next one is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I thought that I was going to absolutely love this book. When I started reading it, I thought it was so whimsical. I loved the fairy world, the different realms. I loved the characters. I thought that they were so cute. I really thought I was going to love it. I loved the journaling in it, as in she's writing her encyclopedia, and that is the way the book is formulated. I loved the way the book was formatted. I'm so embarrassing to myself sometimes. I loved the way the book was formatted with the journal style and the encyclopedia setup of it. The character is super whimsy. The world is very magical and fun. The thing that fell flat for me, and I didn't realize at the time, was the cozy fantasy side of it. Any sort of cozy fantasy book now, after having read 2 or 3 cozy fantasies and not enjoying any of them, I just know that cozy fantasy is not for me. It doesn't have enough depth. It doesn't have enough high stakes. There's not enough going on for me to fully invest in the characters and the story and the plot that's going on. I kept waiting for something crazy to happen, and it's a cozy fantasy, so crazy just doesn't happen. The whole anticipation of waiting for something wild to happen, something high stakes, just was not going to happen. So then from there, I was just not invested, very bored. And although it is beautiful and whimsy and has all those magical fairy elements, there's like fairy lights everywhere and it's beautiful, it was just boring to me. And cozy fantasy is boring to me. That's why I put that one in here. It was not the book's fault at all. I think it was well written, well executed, well formatted. It was beautiful. It was just not for me. Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. I kept this because I love the cover. I literally love the cover. I'm obsessed with it. Now, I am hit and miss with Olivia Blake. I didn't like the Atlas 6 either, but there's another book of hers that I've read and I really enjoyed it. Can't remember what it is though. One for My Enemy. The Romeo and Juliet retelling. One for My Enemy, really loved. The Atlas 6 and this one I did not, so I'm a bit hit and miss with Olivia Blake. I don't know, it might be her writing style, it might be her brain. Sometimes when I'm reading her books, I feel like I am not smart enough for them, but I feel like that's me like gaslighting myself, because I definitely am smart enough to comprehend difficult things and complex ideas. And I've read plenty of other books that are full of complex ideas and have thoroughly enjoyed them and understood them easily. So I don't want to gaslight myself into thinking that I'm not smart enough for Olivia Blake. Her worlds are very intricate, I will say that. She writes really well. I will also say that. I like her writing. Her stories are well structured. This one to me was kind of a little bit like Nettle and Bone that we talked about at the start. I just felt like this was very chaotic and really messy. This is about a woman, she's a real estate agent and she's trying to sell a house that has a ghost attached to it. She goes on this journey to get rid of the ghost basically. Goes to the underworld or the afterlife. She's in all these kind of dream states and is solving problems and fixing things. She's learning things about the ghost. So she's trying to solve that issue of the mystery of his death and help him move on. It all comes to a big ending. I just felt like it was really messy. It does have an overall messaging about life and death and making the most of things. Like it has an underlying message, which I did enjoy from the book. I can't say that it hit the mark when it dropped off for me through the chaotic plot and the number of different beings, and there was just a lot going on that I could not fully concentrate on what she was trying to tell me. I felt that way with the Atlas 6 as well. It felt like a whole mess to me as well. That's my hot take on Masters of Death. I gave this 2 stars. Last but not least, this might also be controversial. Am I the drama? I might be the drama. The last one is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This, for lack of a better word, was boring. I don't have a better word. I found it really, really boring. Now, that is not to say, I am not saying that it was not well written or well executed. The characters are well done. They're all very unique and individual, and you can tell straight away from conversations and personality differences which character is which character. The plot of it is well formatted, well laid out, and well plotted. Six of Crows is about the Six of Crows. It's kind of like a gang, but they are thieves. They kind of just plan heists and get back at the bad guys and take their money or take whatever it is that they need to take from the bad guys, and they get back at the bad guys and end up on top. So they are this team of people that all have a unique set of talents and skills. This was well done. I absolutely love Shadow and Bone. I love Shadow and Bone, and this is part of the Shadow and Bone universe called the Grishaverse. Shadow and Bone was so good to me, and then I went straight into this and I was just like so bored. It took me so long to read. I think it was very drawn out. There was a lot of fluff in this that didn't need to be in there. I loved the characters, but it wasn't fast enough paced for me to be fully invested and fully excited about what they were trying to achieve and what they were doing. I was just bored. It's not to say that it was not well written and well done. The plot was great. The heist was great. I think maybe it was just too slow. Like there was not enough happening. I feel like I'm contradicting myself because I've been saying how I didn't like how the other books were chaotic. It just felt like maybe there was too much fluff, like too much stuff was being explained and overdone to the point where I was getting bored before anything was actually happening. And then when stuff was actually happening, I was just like, okay, I've been thinking about this happening for like 6 weeks. Now we're finally here. I'm over it already. I do think Leigh Bardugo is a really good writer, and I love the Grishaverse. I ended up rating this one 3 stars. Not the worst thing I've ever read. I did end up reading the second one. I listened to the second one on audio and I enjoyed it a lot more, but I think it was because I didn't read it physically. I still found it fluffy and a little bit over-explained. 3 stars for Six of Crows. Missed the mark for me. So there you have it. That is my 12 books that I was convinced to read by social media, people I follow, friends, family members, whoever has convinced me to read these books, and they just did not hit the mark for me. Either completely fell off the mark or they just slightly missed the mark and went a little bit sideways. I will be doing a part 2 of this video, so I'm going to be doing a part 2, and it is going to be 12 books that I was convinced to read that absolutely hit the mark 100%, and I loved them. So come back for part 2 if you have made it this far. So excited for that one. Thank you so much for watching and being here with me and being part of this community. If you have any book recommendations for me, please leave them down below. I am finally getting out of my reading slump and enjoying books again. I have been in the most craziest reading slump of my life. It's been tearing me to shreds. If you enjoyed any of these books, I'm so sorry. I'm happy you enjoyed them. I really am. Like, I wish you all the best. I'm sorry if I've offended anyone. That is not my intention. These are just my opinions and my thoughts on these books that I did not enjoy. That being said, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you in part 2. Bye!